Kalen DeBoer versus Alex Golesh. What the Iron Bowl looks like could be changing a little bit.
You are Locked On College Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yes, it's a crossover edition of Locked On Auburn and Locked On Bama. I'm Zack Blackby. I host Locked On Auburn. He is Luke Robinson. He hosts Locked On Bama. We'll talk about the state of the rivalry, what we should expect for this year's Iron Bowl, because why not? It's never too early to talk about college football in this great state. Luke, just from the Bama perspective, I'd love your thoughts on what Alex Golesh is doing so far and compared to what you guys thought about what Hugh Freeze was and what he was doing.
Well, I don't know if I speak for everybody, but I think Alex Golesh is probably exceeding expectations, at least on the recruiting trail.
I agree with that.
For me. Yeah. Now, I'll say this, that Auburn put together some pretty good classes under Hugh Freeze, and it just never gelled.
Didn't matter. Right.
It didn't matter. And part of that was, I'll say this, I've said it on the Locked On Bama podcast. I ran into the father of an Auburn player that I know. And I asked him, I said, well, how's he like in the new staff? He said he likes them a lot. And he said, he gets to see them more often. He said it's more intense. He said, frankly, because the coach isn't playing golf all the time. Now, he said it tongue in cheek and he said it seriously. So I think there is something to be said for that. So there's probably going to be a little more chemistry. I think Auburn is definitely going to be better. It may not show necessarily in the wins, losses this year, but it may show in the years to come. I do think that Alex Golesh is exceeding expectations in terms of recruiting for sure. But now, having said that, I think you're going to see, Georgia's going to end up getting theirs. Texas is going to end up getting theirs. And so I know Auburn's ranked pretty highly in the top 10 now. I think some of those teams will take over. Alabama, meanwhile, is not going to be super highly ranked. And
what's up with that?
Well, number one, it's going to be a small class. And number two, there is, you've got to manage your budgets and you've got to manage them well. And I think Alabama is focusing on some retention. They've obviously spent money on Elijah Haven, but he could have gotten more somewhere else. Probably same with Trent Seaborn. Alabama's still in it from Monshawn Sales. They'll probably get a commitment from Asani Gales, who was just the MVP in I think a Rivals camp down in Florida recently, who's an incredible receiver. They also loaded up on the offensive line the last couple of years, so they're not going to really go after it super hard this year. A lot of that.
No offensive linemen? Like, is that truly by design?
No, there's going to be some.
You're like missing on guys, but if that's your plan, like if that's truly the plan, then okay, I guess.
No, I think there will be an offensive lineman, 2 or 3, but they won't be the most ballyhooed. Now there is the kid in Texas, Kamara, I think is his last name, that Alabama's going for, and they'll have a shot at him. And he's a 5-star. He's huge, but I would say Alabama's not the favorite. So. A lot of this is going to sound like, hey, he's just trying to make excuses. I really don't think it is. It's the new world. If you got to figure out how to allocate your budgets. I think that,
I agree.
You look at how some of these guys spend more money in the portal. I mean, LSU just threw all the money they could in the portal. Auburn's trying to probably reestablish itself with some roots around here. And so they're trying to get some high school guys. I get it. And Alabama's had 2 good classes under DeBoer before this one, and they're focusing on retention. Guys like Michael Carroll, who was, again, he was a ballyhooed recruit. He comes in, he plays well. Well, now he's due for a big pay bump, and you got to pay it. If you do that, you're going to have to take money out of somebody else's allocation.
Yeah, everybody's going to handle it differently, and where you are in the cycle of your tenure, I think certainly will play a factor in that. I do think, just like from the Auburn side of this, looking at Alabama, like if the reason is for the roster management side of balancing your finances, taking 2 quarterbacks in a class does seem a little unusual in that case.
Okay, it does. I hear what you're saying. That being said, I do think they are not getting them at the maximum value that they could probably command somewhere else. I also think you've got a guy like Trent Seaborn, who is a gump. I mean, and I say that lovingly. He is a Bama guy. He wanted to play for Bama practically all his life, and he's got the opportunity, and he's going down there every weekend to help recruit. And meanwhile, Elijah Haven is looking at it like, Alabama focused on him very, very early, and he's got a good relationship. And that's another thing with these quarterbacks. I guess for some of them, it can be all about the money, but a lot of them is like, who do I trust to develop me for the next level? And the Kalen DeBoer and his staff have a nice reputation for developing quarterbacks. So I think that, Ty Simpson just went in the first round.
Right.
Obviously Penix from Washington. So
Sure.
Even Jalen Milroe, is still on a roster and doing well. So I think that this staff has a good reputation for that. So they probably get them at a bit of a discount. And here's the other thing. There are other schools that can offer more money. But I mean, this would be the case for Auburn in some cases too. If you go to Alabama, and let's say that you go to Alabama and Alabama's offering you X, and I don't know, TCU's offering you X times 2, well, you've got to weigh your options. Okay, yeah, that's more money, and I could take it right on the front end. But I could go to Alabama where I get more limelight, I get more exposure, I play in the biggest conference, you've got all these pluses, better facilities, just a lot of things. You play with more.
Do you think that matters as much as it used to? Not just Alabama, just in general. Like, do you think that brand loyalty matters as much as it used to?
I think it matters to an extent. I don't think it matters as much as it used to. Like I said, there'll be some kids who say, I'm going to take the money now. But a kid like Elijah Haven has proven my point. He could get more money somewhere else. There's no doubt in my mind. And he's taking a bit of a discount to come to Alabama. And again, it's not because I'm not saying, that everybody would do that for Alabama. Obviously, that's not the case.
Oh, I think everybody just wants to play for Alabama for free.
That may be true too. I don't know.
I'm surprised they're not paying to play at Alabama because they love it so much. The way you guys talk about it.
I would do it, Zach.
I'm sure. Yeah. 5-star receiver. You know what? I just want to play at Bama.
I just want to be at Bama.
Yeah.
I just love T-Town.
Yeah.
Love it.
Right. That's what people say. That's what people say.
But the bottom line, you're right about you're right that things have changed so much, and every day something's different. So totally. I mean, it's changing so quickly. It's very difficult. I don't know how you feel. I mean, I'm twice your age or something like that. I'm 53, and I think you're 17. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah.
But it is everything's so much different. I remember.
Yeah.
That's one thing I always loved about. Let's tie it into the Iron Bowl. It's one thing I always loved about the Iron Bowl, man. When you went to school, you had Alabama people and you had Auburn people, and y'all could be friends. But if you brought that up, it was going to be trouble, right? And the players reflected that. I mean, I still remember the name Rory Turner for no other reason that he said, I waxed the dude back in 1984, I think it was. Rory Turner did nothing else in his Alabama career except that, So we remember guys who just wanted to always play for Auburn, who always wanted to play for Alabama.
Chris Davis was a really good corner, was a really good DB, but nobody remembers that, right? Yeah. They remember what he did in the Iron Bowl.
That's right. And it's not necessarily going to be that way anymore. And it's hard as a fan. And I don't know if you feel this as a fan to put your arms around it the same way you used to do it. I mean, you used to feel like, hey, y'all are at Alabama. I was at Alabama. We all love Alabama. Let's just bammer it up. And now it's just different. I mean, look, Cam Coleman, that's Cam Coleman, Isaiah Bond, kind of the same thing. I get Cam chasing the bag. I get it. I totally understand it. But man, he could have stayed at Auburn one more year. And what if Byrum Brown turns it on? And what if
and the Cam Coleman thing too? You're hearing people say that I don't think Auburn even really got a legitimate shot at him. I think they were willing to be pretty competitive with it, and he didn't get a shot. He wanted to go to Texas. So
I'm just saying, how much more of a legend would he be?
Golesh is I think he's very much I don't think he lost any sleep over Cam Coleman. He's very much, if you don't want to be here, go away. So I do think. I mean, we were all crushed when Cam left, but now in hindsight, in the receiving core that they put together, it's I think this actually makes more sense. If I'm being honest with you, let's continue this conversation and kind of look ahead to the Iron Bowl and other things that Luke is going to say in just a moment, right here on Locked on Auburn and Locked on Bama. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Rougiette. Luke, what is your favorite thing about Rougiette?
Is awesome. It's a Jimmy Stein guarantee, as
Jimmy
I say.
Stein guarantee.
When Jimmy Stein guarantees it, that thing is working.
Yeah.
Throughout got to find a better way to say that. Throughout the NHL finals, every shift matters. Every moment is intense and everything comes. I'm sorry?
Intense.
It is intense, man. It's always, you know how it is. And just like athletes must be ready to perform when the puck drops, a lot of guys want that same sense of readiness and confidence in their own lives. That's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet offers modern performance, focused treatments designed to help you be ready when that moment strikes. Their top option is Rugiet Ready, a fast-acting, clinically formulated treatment that comes in a simple mint that dissolves right under your tongue, Zach. Right under.
I bet it takes a while to kick in, though.
Oh, no, 15 minutes. What are you kidding?
I bet the effects don't last very long.
I mean, 36 hours.
A day and a half? Goodness gracious.
Party at Zach's house. That's what I'm talking
ready, baby.
Look, head to rugiet.com/lockedonnhl. Rugiet, that's RUGIET.com/lockedonnhl and get 15% off your ED treatment. That's RUGIET.com/lockedonnhl for 15% off. Rugiet. Performance medicine for men. Jimmy Stein guarantee.
Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn and Locked On Bama your first listen every single day. So obviously these teams are going to be totally different teams week one than they are when they play in the Iron Bowl. Certainly questions about Alabama's quarterback situation. I think that's relevant for the first few weeks of the season. Luke, you may think it's relevant for less than that, but by the time the Iron Bowl rolls around, I don't think that's going to be a part of the story.
No, I mean, look, I'm standing by my prediction that it's going to be Keelan Russell. I think he was number one player in the country for a reason. I think he's got an aura about him. He's just a dude. Now, Austin Mack is a great player. And as I've said a million times, I've met his parents. I'm an Austin Mack fool. If he's the starter, fantastic.
Sure.
But if you're asking me to which one do I think it's going to be, it's going to be Keelan Russell. And I just think he's so uber talented, and it's going to be a lot of fun watching him. And I think that, again, maybe this is wish casting. Jimmy and I both believe Ryan Williams is due for a bounce back season. He didn't have a great year last year. He just didn't. I mean, he dropped a lot of key passes. He hit a wall. And so
he played when he was 17.
I know he was.
Did you know that? Yeah. He was 17 at once.
It's crazy. I think is he 19 yet? He might be 19. It doesn't matter. He may still be 17.
I think he's still 17 is what they're saying.
So I think that he's going to have a good year. I think, the line's going to be a little bit, they got a new offensive line coach. I think that's going to help. As long as EJ Crowell comes in and plays well, I think that's going to help. Do you think
the offensive line situation is better? Like, do you think that was all coaching? Do you think it was scheme? Do you think it was personnel? Do you think it was just like unfortunate circumstances? Because he's like Auburn's assistant O-line coach now is why I'm asking.
And he's a good recruiter. That's a positive.
He's on fire right now.
Yeah, he's a really good recruiter.
I've had two of Auburn's offensive line commits that are on that've been on both 4-star highly rated guys, and like they talk about Coach Hoodie, the O-line coach, but then they also they quickly mention the assistant coaches too, and he is a part of that.
Yeah, and I think Alabama would probably have maybe another 5-star or 2 offensive lineman if he had been retained. But hey, sometimes you just got to make a move, and the offensive line wasn't good last year. So I think they had to do something, and I don't think it is necessarily personal. They got the talent there. I mean, they got guys like Jackson Lloyd, really good player.
Right, the recruits are there. Yeah.
Racing Delgatti, who's coming in, and he's been very good from all accounts. So again, though, I can't answer your question until I see them play a little bit, because, gosh, if it starts out bad again, I'm going to be like, oh, I thought it was coaching, but maybe I was wrong. So I can't say definitively, but I do think it had something to do with coaching.
Yeah. I mean, we'll certainly see what happens with that. What are your expectations from the Bama side, looking at the Auburn side? What are your expectations for Golesh in year one?
I just saw MGM came out with their new win-loss totals. Alabama was 8.5, which kind of struck me as low. And then Auburn was 6.5, which also struck me as low. I think anything less.
That's the same as FanDuel, right?
It is, but I look at Auburn's schedule, and there's some pitfalls in there. And there's some.
The middle of it's tough. Yeah.
The middle of it's tough. And then, you go to Bama, hadn't won there in a while. You got Ole Miss on the schedule. That ain't easy. I think LSU's on the schedule. Not easy. Even Baylor. I mean, that's not going to be a pushover. Shoot. Dave Aranda's fighting for his life. So
feel like he's been fighting for his life for like 3 years, though.
He has, and also I need to find a better way to say that that's not so panicky, because I say fighting for his life, and I should realize, when he's fired, he's going to get $11 gazillion like every other coach does. So, sort of like Hugh Freeze. I can't believe what a crazy man. Yeah, what he's doing right now is playing golf all the time and counting his money.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, that's a whole nother podcast. But I think Auburn should win at least 7. It wouldn't shock me if they won 8. Now, any more than 8, I'd be a little bit surprised, because there are some really tough games in there. And, again, you go to Georgia, you go to Athens.
I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, and I almost think it's more like, I almost think it's 6-6 or like 9-3. I either think the offense works or it doesn't.
Yeah. Well,
like the 7-5 thing is like kind of what feels the safest. And I think you're either going to pop or you're not. Like, we feel good about the defense. There's a few questions that I've got. Pass rusher is certainly a question there, but I think it's going to come down to, like, does the Byrum Brown transition to the SEC work or not? Like, we know Alex Golesh's offense can work in the SEC. We saw it at Tennessee. Best offense in college football that year with Hendon Hooker. And so my thing is, if Byrum Brown, like, he either makes that transition and he's a top 5 quarterback in the conference or not. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I mean, I think, look, it always comes down to quarterback just about, unless you're Trent Dilfer in the Super Bowl. But I think that you're kind of right. I just don't, 9 wins would be, I mean, that's going to be tough. I mean, it's look, and here's the thing. There's so many other teams that have coaches in sort of that same position. Look, Alex Golesh is certainly not on the hot seat or anything, but he wants to make his mark, right? Well, Josh Heupel needs to, reestablish himself. Pete Golding has got to make a move for himself. He's got to make people show that, hey, I can do this just like Lane did. Lane's got to make a name for himself. Of course, Kalen DeBoer's got to make a name for himself. Even though he's been to the playoffs, he's done a bunch of good things, there's still a lot of doubters out there. So, I mean, man, it is so cutthroat right now in this league, and everybody is fighting for that little bit of glory. And I look at Auburn's schedule and I go, look, it's manageable if you have one of those historically good Auburn rosters. This particular roster with all this new blood,
a lot of questions.
8 wins and up is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and I would take 8 wins plus in a heartbeat right now. But I do think some of it depends on, like, your view on other teams in the conference, and let's go through that in just a moment. Right here on this crossover edition of Locked on Auburn and Locked on Bama. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Indeed. You run a business, Luke. How do you find employees?
Indeed. Where is there somewhere else to go? I don't know.
Describe the qualities of a job candidate that you would not find on Indeed.
Oh, you wouldn't find what you wouldn't find?
Yeah.
You wouldn't find people that aren't thorough, that don't have all their boxes checked. I mean, look, Indeed's going to have it just exactly the way you want it, and you're going to find the people you're looking for.
Well, I bet it's going to take a long time.
Oh, God, it's just like snap.
It's just like that. They do it for you. It's incredible. Head over to Indeed.com/podcast. You can get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That is Indeed.com/podcast. Say it with me. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. That's a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And that's a Jimmy Stein guarantee. All right. Thought a few minutes on this crossover edition of Locked on Auburn, Locked on Alabama. Do that right?
Yeah, it is. And look, it's catching on.
Yeah.
Sure. By the way, let me tell you a quick story. So when I went to Alabama, Oklahoma this year in Norman, and while I was out there, some guys recognized me from the podcast. Oh, we watch all the time, whatever. They said, Jimmy Stein guarantee, we love it. And I just, yeah. And I gave them, I think they sent me an Instagram message, actually. They sent me a picture. They actually had T-shirts printed that said, that's a Jimmy Stein guarantee on it.
Wow.
I know. It's pretty crazy. I like it, though. I'm for it. I'm here for it.
How's Jimmy feel about that?
He's fine with it, although I do make him guarantee. He's a lawyer, and every now and again he goes, this isn't a real guarantee, right? So he likes to make sure his T's are crossed and I's are dotted.
Yeah, so it makes you're not that way, and so that makes
no. My T's are dotted, my I's are crossed.
So I think a lot of this has to do, like, when you talk about the SEC and some of the stuff that you were kind of alluding to, like I could see Florida working. I could also see Florida needing more time under Summerall. I could see by the time LSU comes to Jordan-Hare Stadium, like I think the way we're talking about Sam Leavitt is a little similar to the way we talked about DJ Lagway last year, where like Lagway's shoulder was banged up and no one wanted to talk about it. It was like, oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And then you look at Sam Leavitt. Sam Leavitt leaves LSU to go to Tennessee, and everybody's pitching a fit, and they're like, oh, well, his injury, his foot's messed up anyway. And then 3 days later, he signs with LSU, and it's like, oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's like, what happened? What happened in those few days? I think Tennessee's got a lot of questions. You know, who's their quarterback? Vandy, you know, is Vandy actually better now, or was it a Diego Pavia thing? I don't know. Clark Lee seems like a decent coach. He's proved me wrong time and time again. Like, is Jared Curtis ready to go day one? I don't know. And then Ole Miss, like, I mean, you mentioned in win totals earlier, FanDuel's win total, it's like, it's low. It's like 7.5 or something.
Yeah.
It's like, what's up with that? So there's a lot of this where there's a chance we beat each other up this year because of all of the variables that are in play here.
Well, I mean, take it a step further. I know Alabama and Auburn don't play these teams, but you know, is John Mateer going to be better? I mean, he was supposed to be a Heisman Trophy leader when he first got to. He was the number one player in the transfer portal, and I would say he did not play that way. And then Arch Manning, we all love him. Everybody loves him. He's in Manning, all these things, and you see every mock draft has Arch Manning going number one. Have you seen him play like a first pick in the draft guy? I haven't. I mean, I've seen him do some good things. But I've seen a lot of guys do
there, but things. Like, you're taking him over Trinidad right now?
I mean, I'm probably not. I mean, you know, you almost feel like you're crazy saying that because everybody said, oh, of course you take Arch over anybody. Well, I don't know. I hadn't seen what y'all are seeing. And I have seen him go to, say, Ohio State and put up single digits. You know, I mean,
first game, I'm okay looking past that one.
I get it. It's still, when you're supposed to be that good and you only put up single digits, it's sort of a thing. But
I mean, does he have an offense around him at Texas?
Yeah, they got plenty of dudes. Come on, they got all that oil money running everywhere. So going back to LSU, that's an interesting one. You know, Alabama and Auburn both play them. That's going to be something, I think, when Lane Kiffin comes to Jordan-Hare.
Well, dude, in LSU schedule, man, like I don't think people are looking at this. I mean, it could fall off the rails quickly.
But that's where I was going. I'm going to tell you, Zach, I don't understand the love that they are getting right now. Yeah, they brought in a bunch of pieces and a bunch of.
Let's do this together real quick. Yeah. And like, I don't know if we pick wins or losses, but just they open against Clemson, La Tech. Then they play at Ole Miss. Obviously, that's going to be a historically entertaining game. Then they host A&M, McNeese State, which isn't a state, Kentucky, whatever, Mississippi State, whatever. But then they go to Auburn. They host Alabama. They host Texas. They go to Tennessee. And so, like, what are our expectations here? Because I just feel like as soon as they get out of playoff contention, there's a chance that thing just totally, like, everybody freaks out there.
I'm 100% on board with what you're saying. And just think about it this way. So Lane Kiffin, listening to you say the schedule, he has to go to Ole Miss, he has to go to Auburn, and to Tennessee. He's coached at two of those places. He was linked to Auburn twice.
That's a great point.
I mean, you're telling me he's going to go 3-0 in those? There's no way that's happening.
No way. And then the home games, when you talk about Clemson and A&M,
is A&M directly after Ole Miss too?
Texas all at home? Like, you're not going 4-0 at home either. Like, so what's the path to the playoff if you're LSU right now?
Is A&M right after the Ole Miss game too? Did you say that?
Yes. No bye weeks. Right after.
How in the world are you going to do? I mean, I know Auburn's got, everybody in the SEC's got this, but because I know, you know, Bama's got, you know, I think Georgia, then Tennessee, and A&M.
Pressure matters here.
But I'm saying, how are you going to go play in the most emotionally, mentally draining game that you could possibly imagine at Ole Miss, and then come back and be ready to play a Texas A&M team that's returning Marcel Reed, that's got dudes.
One of the more physical teams of the conference.
I mean, I don't know how you're going to do it. I'm just telling you, like, everybody thinks I'm crazy.
If you lose two of those games, Luke, like, what version of LSU are you getting the rest of the way? If they lose two, with whether it's Clemson, Ole Miss, A&M, even if you lose one of those, and you're coaching for your playoff life every single game, I don't know. That's a tough world to live in.
Well, here's the thing. I think when you have if he had a younger team, if this were all young dudes that they had, been grooming for a year, maybe, then I think that they could survive it. But when you bring in a Jordan Seaton, when you bring in a Sam Levitt, you bring in some older guys that, you're just like, hey, we're going to plug and play. We're going to be the biggest, baddest on the block. And then, like you said, if they start out 2-2, I mean, all of a sudden they're probably, some of these older guys are probably like, hey, what are we playing for? You know what I mean? And two of those losses are in the conference. I mean, and you got Texas coming up, you got Bama coming up, you're at Auburn, you're at Tennessee. I'm with you, man. I don't see the love for LSU at the moment.
Yeah. It's not that they're not talented. It's not that they don't have a good roster. That path is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
It's brutal. So, for all the Auburn folks, Lukey Pookie, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
We love to have Auburn people join us. We have it all the time. Locked on Bama on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcast. Come join us. When Alabama loses, come watch me wipe my tears away. I think it's one.
Those are your best shows for sure.
Undoubtedly.
Legitimately. Yeah. It's that way across the network. It's not just stuff y'all think. Yeah, and for all the Alabama folks, would love to have you tuning in to Locked on Auburn. Please like our shows. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been a crossover edition of Locked on Auburn and Locked on Bama. Let's go.